Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Ali from CML InfoTech. Hope you're doing well. Inshallah, today is 11th day of CCNA. We're going to discuss about native VLAN, then allowing VLANs between trunking, moving forward, telnet and SSH topic. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session. We'll recap on the last session for 2 minutes to 3 minutes. We discussed on the last session talking about trunking, which is nothing but sending traffic from one switch to another switch. Like we have a scenario here. We have connected two switches by using a port number, let's say from switch 1, port number 23 to switch 2, port number 22. And these connections, when you connected each other, that will become a trunking by giving manual configuration or automatically with the desirable mode. Like we said on the last session, we need to configure switch port mode trunk, or by having DTP, dynamic trunking protocol, gonna be elect automatically if one side would be configured. So in order to become a trunking, we have to enable a protocol called .1q or ISL. These two protocols will be help us to carry VLAN information from one switch to another switch. .1q is open standard and ISL is Cisco proprietary. If you don't have a choice to configure it by manually in the trunk port as a trunk, like allowing encapsulations, then it automatically detect as .1q. If you have a choice, then it's gonna be show you whether ISL or .1q. So the last session was we have two switch connected each other by giving, let's say we connected to port number 23 to port number 22. And this is I've named as CSW1, which is core switch 1, and this is I named as ASW1, access switch. SW means switch, A means access, number 1. Here C means core, SW means switch, number 1. Will you enable the trunking between each other switches? Let's say you have edge devices connected to VLAN 10, and you have edge devices. The edge devices could be anything like a telephone, camera, Wi-Fi systems, could be anything. You have VLAN 1. When you're expanding your network by adding more devices into the same VLAN, which you don't have a port on the first switch, you're going to be add on the second switch. Or in a different floor, you will be connecting to those floor devices into that specific switch. In any manner, you are expanded your network, by the way. I'm just explaining the previous scenario in order to get the continuity on the session. Now, when a VLAN 10 traffic going out on the same switch within VLAN 10 doesn't require to know or think about the VLAN and all. The system will look about the system or any device which connected here will look about the destination MAC of the MAC address of the destination system and will act accordingly. Initially, if these devices are not knowing each other, there is a process called ARP, Address Resolution Protocol, and while come back from the destination to return source, there is an inverse ARP protocol, which we discussed earlier. അതായത് സെൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിന് റിസീവ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിന്റെ മാക് അഡ്രസ് അറിയില്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് ARP പ്രോട്ടോകോൾ വെച്ചിട്ട് ആദ്യം ഐഡന്റിഫൈ ചെയ്യും. അത് സ്വിച്ചിന്റെ മാക് ടേബിളിൽ എഴുതും. plus receive the system in the ARP table next time same system data flow receive in the system in the information such as MAC address send in the system in the ARP table collected to forwarding, which is known as unicast forwarding, unicast communication. Now here we have a system in VLAN 10 on switch 1 and we have a system in VLAN 20 on switch 2. So they need to communicate each other. In order to communicate from, let's say, this is PC1, okay, and this is PC, let's say PC9. In order to communicate between them to send the traffic, the real path from this system to the switch 1, and switch 1 should send that traffic over the trunk port to the destination trunk port. Keep in mind, when traffic reaches to the trunk port, in the trunk port, the defined protocol such as .1q or ISL will add the tag. What is tag? Will add the tag. Tag is nothing but a VLAN info will inform to the trunk port with the help of .1q protocol. In other way, the .1q or ISL protocol will come to know what VLAN is coming to port number 23, and that VLAN info will carry forward to the other side. Once it reached here, the received VLAN will look into this port from the same protocol like ISL or .1q, will remove it from here and will forward the rest of the information such as destination MAC address. ഒരു ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ട് വഴി ഒരു VLAN ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസ് വന്നാൽ ആ ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ട് അടുത്ത സ്വിച്ചിലേക്ക് അയക്കുന്നതിന് മുൻപ് ആ VLAN ഇൻഫർമേഷനെ അത് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യും. അതിന് വിളിക്കുന്ന പേരാണ് ടാഗ് ചെയ്യുക. നമ്മൾ എന്തിനെ ടാഗ് ചെയ്യുന്നു? VLAN-നെ ടാഗ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. So this called as VLAN tagging. Okay, so in any case, if you have 10 different VLANs on one switch and all the 10 VLANs should carry to the other switches from the trunk port, those 10 VLANs to be identified by the trunking protocol such as, let's say, .1q, and will move forward to the next switch. That is the common procedure. Okay, and let's say you have another switch here and you have a system connected under VLAN 30 here, and it is also connected to the trunk port, and you have edge devices here, let's say you have another switch here which is switch 3 connected here trunk port, and you have a system belongs to VLAN 30 and you have a system here in VLAN 30. So when this system sending from to this system VLAN 30 or any different VLAN, when this system will reach to the switch and switch will look into the trunk port, and from the trunk port again this will be add the VLAN information from the trunking protocol. Or if you have a VLAN 30 system which is in VLAN 30 here, this will come to the switch 1, switch 1 come to the trunk port 22 trunk port will look into the or add the VLAN 30 with the help of trunking protocols such as .1q and will carry forward to the switch. And this switch will look into the database, came to know that this outgoing port, let's say port number 7, outgoing port. So this will come to here and this will go to here. So the VLAN tagging or .1q encapsulation protocol will work in between trunk protocol, trunking port, which is connected between switches. This is what we discussed on the last session. In order to say this, we have a specific command called show interface trunk. So let's say I'm gonna look into this switch, the first switch. Show interface trunk. Now you can see we have only single trunk port, which is 23 towards to the other switch, and .1q is the encapsulation protocol. Okay, so any traffic which carry through between trunking protocol between trunks will carry through port number 23, and the default all the VLANs will be allowed on that trunk port. Like we have a VLAN 10, 20, 30, and the default VLAN called VLAN 1. All of them are already allowed. Okay, now today we're talking about one additional topic called native VLAN. You can see native VLAN. This is one of the key role in the switching network. What is native VLAN? What is the benefits of native VLAN? Let's say in your network design, I said you have a VLAN 10 and VLAN 30. Oh, sorry, VLAN 20. Even you have a VLAN 30. And each VLAN, you have n number of edge devices. Here also you have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30. Port number 23, port number 22. So when VLAN 10 systems or edge devices would send traffic to system under VLAN 10 of switch 2 or ASW, access switch, which one, or CSW. So every time when a traffic coming from VLAN 10 to the switch 2, which is going through port number 23, that will be at VLAN with the help of .1q protocol, which is called tagging, or we call it as a tagged VLAN. We call it as a tagged VLAN. Tagged VLAN. Let's say every VLAN, which is 10, 20, 30, are communicating to another switch on the same VLAN. They must need to go through trunk port, and every time when passing the traffic through trunk port, they're going to check which VLAN it is. That's called VLAN tagging, tagged VLAN. Okay. So think about a specific VLAN which is communicating on a daily basis more than other VLANs. Let's say VLAN 10 and 20 and 30 are communicating just 25 times in a day. But a specific VLAN, example, we have a VLAN 300, which is communicating 1000 times in a day, so which is higher times. So every time when crossing the traffic over the trunk port, should look about the VLAN tagging, VLAN information. So it will be taken additional time, extra time. So in order to reduce the time which is taken on the trunk port to look about the tagging, we can remove the tag and we can inform the trunk port, do not check the tagging, just allow them, like a VIP customer. Do not check anything. If anything coming from VLAN 300 without looking any data, you just allow them to go. So it will be helping us to reduce the time, and it will be moved in a very fast manner. In order to make any specific VLAN which is informing on the trunk port, do not check anything, just allow them to go, that VLAN must be native VLAN. So the benefit of the native VLAN, I said already about tagged, looking about the tag. So if anything which is not tagged or which is not looking into the tag, we call it as untagged. Untagged. So native VLAN means if any traffic which is going through trunk port in the manner of native VLAN will not look into the VLAN information in the trunk port. In shortly, ഒരു ട്രങ്ക് ചെക്ക് പോസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കും, ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ടിനെ ചെക്ക് പോസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കും. നമ്മൾ ഒരുപാട് വണ്ടികൾ ചെക്ക് പോസ്റ്റ് വഴി ഇങ്ങനെ കടന്നു പോകുമ്പോൾ ഏത് വണ്ടികൾ കടന്നു പോവുകയാണെങ്കിലും ചെക്ക് പോസ്റ്റിൽ നിർത്തി ഡോക്യുമെന്റ് കാണിച്ച് അവർ അലോ ചെയ്തിട്ട് വേണം അപ്പുറത്തേക്ക് പോകണം. സെയിം കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ഇവിടെ VLAN 20, 10, 20, 30 എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നത് പൂൾ ഓഫ് വെഹിക്കിൾസ് എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. പോർട്ട് നമ്പർ 23 ഓഫ് ദ സ്വിച്ച് 1 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ട്, ട്രാഫിക് ചെക്ക് പോസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. ഇവിടെ എത്തുമ്പോൾ ഈ VLAN 10ന്റെ അണ്ടറിൽ 25 കമ്പ്യൂട്ടേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ആ ഓരോ കമ്പ്യൂട്ടേഴ്സിന്റെ ഓരോ ട്രാഫിക്കും കടന്നു പോകുമ്പോൾ ഈ ചെക്ക് പോസ്റ്റിൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്ത് കൺഫേം ചെയ്തിട്ടേക്കാണ് അപ്പുറത്തേക്ക് അയക്കും. അത് ഒരുപാട് ടൈം എടുക്കും. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ പറയുവാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു വണ്ടി ഒരു ദിവസം ഒരു 100-150 പ്രാവശ്യം വരുന്നുണ്ട്, ഇങ്ങനെ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഒരുപാട് ടൈം എടുക്കും. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ആദ്യമേ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻസും തരാം, എന്നെ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ട കടത്തി വിടുന്നു പറയും. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റ്. അങ്ങനെ ഈ ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ടിൽ ഇതൊന്നും ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യാതെ കടത്തി വിടണമെങ്കിൽ ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ട് മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്ന ഭാഷ പ്രകാരം അതിന് നമ്മൾ എന്താക്കി കൊടുക്കണം? നേറ്റീവ് VLAN എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് കോൺഫിഗർ ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കണം. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മളൊരു VLAN 30 എന്ന് പറയുന്ന VLANനെ ഞാൻ നേറ്റീവ് VLAN എന്ന് കോൺഫിഗർ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ VLAN 30 നിന്ന് പോകുന്ന ട്രാഫിക് ഒന്നും തന്നെ ഈ ട്രങ്ക് പോർട്ടിൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് അതിന്റെ VLAN ടാഗിങ് നടക്കില്ല. ക്ലിയർ? ദാറ്റ്സ് ദി കോൺസെപ്റ്റ്. ഇതിന് കുറച്ച് ക്രൈറ്റീരിയാസ് ഉണ്ട്. There are some criteria to follow to make them an native VLAN on both the switches. The first criteria, only one VLAN can be native on each switch. എനിക്ക് VLAN 10 20 30 ഒക്കെ native ആക്കണം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നടക്കില്ല. ഒരൊറ്റ VLAN മാത്രമേ. It could be either 10, either 20, either 30, or either 300, or either anything, but single one. Okay, and both the switches must be same VLAN as a native. And ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് ഞാൻ VLAN 30 ഒരു ട്രാഫിക് ഇപ്പുറത്തേക്ക് കടത്തി വിടുമ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ട് ഇത് നേറ്റീവ് എന്ന് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്ത് നേറ്റീവ് ആണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കി ഒന്നും ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യാണ്ട് ഇപ്പുറത്തേക്ക് അയച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ പോർട്ടിനും പറയണല്ലോ വരുന്നത് നേറ്റീവ് ആണെന്ന്. അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഈ സ്വിച്ചിനകത്തും കയറി പറയണം നേറ്റീവ് VLAN ഇതും. അത് രണ്ട് സ്വിച്ചിലും സെയിം VLAN ആയിരിക്കണം. ഞാൻ സ്വിച്ച് 1 VLAN 10 നേറ്റീവും സ്വിച്ച് 2 VLAN 20 നേറ്റീവും ആക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വർക്കാവില്ല. Okay, that's the one criteria. Second, yeah, there are two criteria which I already said. One, ഒരു VLAN മാത്രമേ നേറ്റീവ് ആക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. രണ്ട് എൻഡിലും അതേ VLAN ആയിരിക്കണം നേറ്റീവ്. ബൈ ഡിഫോൾട്ട് നേറ്റീവ് VLAN എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് VLAN 1 ആണ്. നമ്മൾ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒന്നും കോൺഫിഗർ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ VLAN 1 നേറ്റീവ് VLAN ആണ്. We'll look into this. If you look into this trunk port, you can see native VLAN 1. And the port number is 23. Let's say show run section F0/23. Okay. 23. So here you can see when you put show run command, you can see everything. Or you can put a pipeline, and you can put a specific session. I think I discussed in the last session. Section which you can give a same port number 23. Why F0 is not working? There is no interface in the name of F0 because that must be full name, first with the name. So I just given 23. So start with the 23, which is F0 23. Here you can see I have never made any statement to define the native VLAN. These two are, I made it .12 as an encapsulation and I configured as a trunk port. And this is the description to understand this port number 23 is connected to where. You can see this is connected to port number 22 of far end switch, like the access switch. I never configured as a native VLAN configuration. Okay. So let's say if I wanted to change the native VLAN, what should be my configuration? You need to enter to the interface first, which is interface F0/23. You are in privilege mode now. So you need to give a config command, interface F0/23 shortcut command. Then switch port, trunk. Now you can see I put the question mark. If you don't know the full command, you can put the question mark to see what is next. Switch port trunk, you can see native VLAN. Okay, let's say I'm going to configure native VLAN. Before I wanted to know what all the VLAN that I have. If you go up, you can see you have a VLAN 10, 20, 30. Okay, and you are in switch 1 now, which is native VLAN 1. Let us see the second switch as well. Like this is second switch. Let's say CLI, and this is switch 1. So switch 1. This is switch 2. Okay, now share. Fine. This is switch 1. Show VLAN. Okay. Show interface. Now you can see VLAN 10, 20, 30 is allowed here. This is second switch. Enable show interface trunk. Look, both the switch have VLAN 10 and 20, 30 are allowed, and here also native VLAN 1. Here also native VLAN 1. Okay. Now on core switch 1, I'll make VLAN 10 as a native VLAN. Let's see what's gonna be happen. I said both end must be same VLAN as native VLAN. Okay, so config C, interface F0/23, switch port, trunk. You put the question mark, you can see the command called native. So switch port mode trunk, switch port trunk, native VLAN. You can put any VLAN as a native. So I'll put VLAN 10. The moment I configured native VLAN, you may receive a message called CDP. CDP is the Neighbor Discovery Protocol from Cisco, which says that native VLAN mismatch. Native VLAN mismatch. The native VLAN mismatch discovered on port number 23, which is 10. I mean on the same switch. With CML ASW1, which is the fire and switch name, port number 22, informed us port number 1, VLAN 1. Okay, so these are the different VLAN as a native. Same thing here also, you might receive the command. You can see that native VLAN mismatched. The local port, which is port number 22, stating that your native VLAN is VLAN 1, whereas on the far end it says that port number 23 is VLAN 10. So the VLAN information is mismatched. Now let's say show interface trunk. Show IP INC brief. Okay, so here you can get the continuous message stating that your VLAN is mismatched, discovered on port number 23, or that's the port. This is upcoming chapter, which is called spanning tree. You can see the port has become a block. Port number 23 is become a block. Just see one command. Show spanning tree. See, this message is still appearing because the VLAN is mismatched on both the sides. So one of the criteria, both ends must be the same VLAN as native VLAN. And show interface trunk. I said only one VLAN can be a member of native VLAN. Before it was VLAN 1. Now it's moved to VLAN 10. So the 1 is moved to 10. So it cannot be make multiple VLAN as native VLAN in each switch. Okay. So either on the other switch, you need to change into VLAN ID 10 as a native VLAN on the second switch. Or you need to change here back to VLAN 1 as a native VLAN, either of the way. So let's say I'm going to configure on switch, access switch, config C, interface F0/22, switch port trunk, native VLAN 10. Here you can see that unblock the port, which is port number 23, and it is restored. The port has become active back. Okay. So don't worry, when you configure different port as native, different VLAN as a native on both the side switches, you will get this type of message. And you need to keep only one switch as one VLAN as a native in each switch. Okay. So hope you understand the native VLAN. Now, if you look into show interface trunk, you can see all the VLANs is allowed. Here, you have a multiple choice. What does it mean? That you can allow all, you can deny all, you can allow some, and you can remove some. You can do any step. Like you need to go to that specific port, which is a trunk port, interface F0/23, then switch port trunk allowed it. Then you can have command called VLAN, and here you can see all is allowed it, none, nothing will allow it. So let's say if I put none command, NONE, none, do show VLAN, do show interface. Here you can see that no VLANs has been allowed it on this trunk port. Okay, so let me look into one set of communication. Ping. What's my IP of the second switch? Let's say 10. 10.4. You can see the packet is not moving forward. The VLAN 10 belongs to 10 network. The reason the traffic is not going out, what could be the reason? The reason the system 10.4 belongs to another switch. So let's say what's going on now. I have two switch. Okay, I have a system here which is 10.4 VLAN 10. I have a system here which is 10.1, which is 10.1 under the same VLAN. I'm trying to send the traffic from VLAN 10, I mean from this system, going out on this port, which is port number 23. From here, the traffic is not going out because I denied all the VLANs on this port. Nothing is going out. Okay, and I have VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 30. Nothing is going because all I denied. And now I'm trying from VLAN 10 traffic. So let's say I'm just allowing only VLAN 10, and let's see from the rest of the system. So currently I tested from VLAN 10 system, which is 10.4, the system IP, which is from 10 network. Let me try the system from VLAN 20 as well. Okay, so let's go to the 20.1 and try tipping to 20.4. So desktop command prompt. The IP of this system is 20.1, which is VLAN 20. And I'm gonna ping 1092.168 20.4, which is on the other system. It's not allowing because I denied all the VLANs, which means I allowed it none. Nothing has been allowed it. So let us go back to the switch. Where's my switch? Yeah, the switch I allowed it nothing. So let me try by allowing VLAN. I can say allowed it VLAN add. I'm allowing only 10. Okay. Now if you try to see the command, you can see only VLAN 10 is allowed. The rest of them are still denied. So let us go back to the PC one, okay, which is 10.1. Let us think. Yeah. So 10.4, which is 10 network, is allowed because the traffic is allowing. Let us think from, which is a system from 20 network. Okay. So let us see 20.4. So 20.4 is not allowing. The reason we have not allowed it VLAN 20 and the trunk port. We allowed it only 10. So keep in mind, when you configure multiple VLANs on a single switch or any specific switch, and if you just allowed a trunk, by default, all the VLANs has been allowed it. You don't need to do anything unless you have a specific subject to deny any type of VLAN. Maybe you have a one VLAN which is not on the other switch, so you don't need to send any traffic to other switch. So it depends on the scenario. Here you can, if you have more VLANs to deny, only one VLANs to allow. Instead of denying more, you can put one allow. Or let's say you have 10, 20, 30, 40, only 30 need to be denied. So you can put 30 need to be allowed. Then you can put except 30 can allow all. Or you can remove a specific VLAN, add a specific VLAN, or simply if you put all, which means all the VLANs is allowed. So let's say show interface room, all the VLANs is allowed. Okay. So keep in mind you have an HE VLAN and you have VLAN allowing either all or none, or you can put few, which is by giving add command or remove command. എല്ലാ VLANസും ബൈ ഡിഫോൾട്ട് ആയിട്ട് അലൗഡ് ആണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ നൺ കൊടുത്തിട്ട് എല്ലാം ഡിനേ ചെയ്യാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആഡ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ഏതെങ്കിലും ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു 25 VLAN ഉണ്ട്, അതിൽ രണ്ടെണ്ണം മാത്രം കടത്തി വിട്ടാൽ മതിയെങ്കിൽ ആഡ് ആ രണ്ട് VLAN, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 25 VLAN ഉണ്ട്, അതിൽ രണ്ടെണ്ണം മാത്രം റിമൂവ് ചെയ്താൽ മതിയെങ്കിൽ അപ്പം റിമൂവ് നോട്ട് ആ രണ്ടെണ്ണം മാത്രം റിമൂവ് ചെയ്യുക, അപ്പൊ ബാക്കിയെല്ലാം ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി അലൗഡ് ആയിക്കോളും. ഡിപ്പെൻസ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എങ്ങനെ തിങ്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നോ അങ്ങനെ. പക്ഷെ നമുക്ക് മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ ചോയ്സസ് ഉണ്ട്. എല്ലാം അലോ ചെയ്യാം, എല്ലാം ഡിനേ ചെയ്യാം, കുറച്ച് മാത്രം അലോ ചെയ്യാം, കുറച്ച് മാത്രം ഡിനേ ചെയ്യാം. ഈ കുറച്ചെന്ന് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് കുഡ് ബി എനി നമ്പർ ലൈക്ക് 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 80, 70, 90. It could be any numbers. Okay, until the VLAN numbers is finished, like 4094. Okay, so these two topics talking about VLAN trunking, native VLAN, and trunk port. Hope you understand the session. So we'll have another session just after the break. On the next session, it could be very easy. We're talking about the telnet and SSH. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. This winding up with the part 1, day 10.